Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen, or welcome if you are new. My name is Bethany, or Budget Bethany, and welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. So this week's What's for Dinner is in collaboration with Valerie from the Harget Life. So after you get through watching my video, head on over to her channel and check out her What's for Dinner from the day as well. And I'll have everything linked down below in my description box just so that you can easily access it. Today's video is going to be a crock pot video, so I'm going to be sharing 3 super easy crock pot dinners with y'all, so just keep watching. Up first, I'm going to be sharing some crock pot spaghetti. So when I first saw this, I was like, what in the world? There's no way you can cook the whole spaghetti in the crock pot, but you can. So to start with, all I did was brown up my ground beef, and I did season it up with some garlic powder, some onion powder, and some Italian seasoning. Of course, you can add like onion or bell pepper, whatever you like in your spaghetti, you can add it into the crock pot as well. So then I just drained off my grease, and I showed y'all how I do that. Then I'm going to dump that over into my crock pot, and then I'm going to pour in my spaghetti sauce. Of course, you can use whatever kind of sauce you like. And then I'll go in with my spaghetti noodles. Yes, I put the spaghetti noodles in there without boiling them or anything like that. So I just put them right on in there, broke them up, put them in there. I thought, oh my gosh, this is not going to turn out, but it does. After I got through adding in the spaghetti sauce, and I'm just using the Hunt's tomato spaghetti sauce that you can find in the can, I did fill the can halfway up with water just to make sure I had enough liquid in there. And then I go in with my second can of sauce. I think the original recipe only called for 1 can of spaghetti sauce, but I'm extra and I like a lot of sauce, and I thought that maybe it would kind of dry up, and I was right. So I did add in 2. And then I went in with a half a block of an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And then I just cooked that on low for about 6 hours, and this is how it looked after the 6 hours. So it looks pretty crusty and nasty, and I was like, oh my gosh, y'all, I have done messed up spaghetti night. My kids are gonna be mad at me, but it was actually delicious. It tasted just like I cooked the spaghetti over on the stove. So I just mixed the cream cheese in there, you know, it was all melted and everything. So I just kind of mixed that all up together, and then this is how it looks once it was all mixed up really well together. Then I just topped it with some mozzarella cheese just to be more extra than I already was. After I added the mozzarella cheese, I just popped the lid back on there for about 5 minutes and let that cheese melt. And then here it was, and I was worried that the noodles are going to be kind of soggy as well, but they weren't. They were just right. So I highly recommend cooking spaghetti in the crock pot. If you've never tried it, don't knock it till you try it, because I almost knocked it. I almost did not give it a try because I was like, there's no way I can cook delicious spaghetti in the crock pot, but I did, and it was so good. Of course, it's probably easier just to cook it on the stove, but if you're not going to be home that day and you just kind of want dinner to be ready whenever you get home, this is a perfect dinner to have for one of those nights. The second crock pot dinner that I'm going to be sharing with y'all, it's going to be creamy crock pot buffalo chicken. So all I did was add in 2 chicken breasts, and they were still frozen, so I just dropped those things in there, frozen and all. Then I covered them in some ranch seasoning right here, and you see in the package. I'll show it to y'all in just a minute. I can talk, y'all. It's just like you would make like homemade ranch with. I just sprinkle that on top of my chicken breast, and then I go in with some buffalo sauce, and I just got the great value like buffalo wing sauce. I poured about a quarter to a half of jar over on top of my chicken, and then I go in with a half a block of cream cheese. This was actually the other half of the cream cheese that I used the night before in the spaghetti. just to keep my own anxiety at bay and not be worried about this chicken burning up or the crock pot catching on fire all day, I always like to add just a little bit of liquid into the bottom of my crock pot, and then I just cook that on low for about 6 hours, and then this is how it looked once those 6 hours was up. So all I did then was just kind of shred my chicken up and make sure I mixed that cream cheese in really well with that liquid. After I got everything mixed up really well, this is what I was left with, and now I'm just going to serve mine up on sub rolls, but you could also serve this up on tortillas. You could make like a chicken taco or something like that, or you could also even serve this on a salad, maybe some brioche buns. I don't know, the options are endless. So then I'm just going to top mine with some paper jack cheese, and supper's going to be done. You could also serve this with chips or maybe some fries or something like that if you're feeling real extra, but we just had our chicken sub on this night, and of course I made mine upside down. I was just kind of crazy on that night, so I'm going to flip it over, and then supper will be done, y'all. So for the third and final crock pot dinner that I'm going to be sharing with y'all this week, it's going to be Crockpot Brunswick Stew. So I've had Brunswick Stew pretty much all my life, but I don't think I've ever had it cooked the entire way in the crock pot. Most of the time we just cook our meat in there, and then we just kind of add it into a big old pot and add all our veggies in there. But to make Brunswick stew, you will need some potatoes, 2 cans of sweet peas, 2 cans of whole kernel corn, and 2 cans of tomatoes. And then you'll need like a Boston butt, or you could use like a porkloin. You could even use chicken if you wanted to, but I've got a Boston butt to make mine with. So right here I found these cool little gadgets at Walmart in like the barbecuing section, what's it called? Garden center. I couldn't think for a minute, so anyway I found them over there in the garden center. So I'm just going to use them and kind of shred up my Boston butt really well, and then I'm going to add that and back into my crock pot. There is a lot of liquid that cooks out of the Boston butt, so I don't really have to add any liquid because you don't want it to overflow, and mine was like at the very top of the rim once I added all the vegetables, and I do drain all the liquids off of the vegetables except for the tomatoes. Once I got all of the cans of vegetables added into the crock pot, into the liquid, I just popped the lid back on it, and I've got it on keep warm just so that everything kind of cooks, because you know that canned stuff you don't have to actually cook it, you just want to keep it warm. And then after about 5-10 minutes I went in with my shredded Boston butt. So I just got it really shredded up, and I'm just taking handfuls and putting in there, kind of like eyeballing it, just because I don't want my crock pot to overflow, and it was pretty full like I said. Then after I added my meat, I went in with my ketchup and my hot sauce, and of course you could use whatever kind of hot sauce you like. I did boil my potatoes in a separate pot just because it would take potatoes forever to cook in the crock pot, and it was like dinner time now and I needed to get dinner on the table. So I just boiled them up, washed them, diced them, boiled them up, drained the water off of them, and I'm dumping them in my crock pot really carefully because you'll see in just a minute it slap to the rim, as you can see. So I'm just going to kind of do my best to mix all these potatoes in there and make sure it all gets good and distributed around into the crock pot. Then after I got everything mixed up really well and together and everything like that, I just popped the lid back on there for about 5 more minutes and kind of let that simmer on keep warm, just to kind of let all the flavors get mixed up and incorporated together, and then dinner was served. And I have to say, it was still pretty delicious. Even cooked in the crock pot, it tasted basically like I cooked it on the stove. But y'all, that's it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope y'all enjoyed these 3 crock pot dinners, and I hope it'll give you some meal ideas to cook at home for your family as well. Also, don't forget to go check out Valerie's video from today. I'm pretty sure she's got a delicious What's for Dinner for y'all as well. And I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, y'all.